Do you have a favorite memory of playing back then that you are fond of?
You know, I have no memories of that part of my life. No, I don't know. I really don't have. You know, I remember playing Pac-Man. I actually had some friends who had a Pac-Man game, like a console, and so we could sit there for hours and play it and go back and forth, and it was fun. But it does seem like it was 10 generations ago, and what the new games are just very different.
Speaking of that, how crazy do you think it is how far video games have come since Pac-Man?
Well, I think it's magnificent, you know, and one of the things that I like about it is that it's, particularly in the case of Skylanders, it's become character-driven. And in all of our writing, Alec and I have always tried to tell the story from the point of view of the character and the emotional needs of the character and all of that. And so, you know, I feel like Skylanders expresses that in some fully explored way.
And do you play any games now in your spare time?
Only Skylanders. I have a contract with Activision that only allows me to play Skylanders, and I'm happy to live by it.
How do you see the convergence between Hollywood and video games evolving and moving forward?
Well, that's an interesting thing, because the video game world unto itself has been so successful and so lucrative, and the games are getting more sophisticated, that I don't know that they ever need to really have a cross-pollination with the movie business. It would be good for me if they did, and I hope they do, but I don't really know if that's where it's going. You know, movies have become so shockingly expensive, and video games can be made for a price and aren't dependent on actors and characters that way. And we'll see what happens. I don't know. Maybe it's inevitable, maybe it's not.
Now, we see a lot of video games become movies. Any chance movies become video games? You think we'll see vice versa, video games becoming movies more?
Well, you know, we've talked a lot with the folks over at Activision, and Alec and I have spoken amongst ourselves about how Skylanders would naturally lend itself to like a movie or a television show or something like that. But I think until they've put out 3 or 4 iterations of the game, that's not something that they're thinking about right now. But the characters do lend themselves to that, and it would be fun to develop and explore those characters even further and get into their Freuds and get into who they are in a kind of movie language as opposed to a video game language.